couple albums later, Frank Zappa. What was that like?
Oh, that was crazy. You know, that guy his thing on the album called "Don't Let 'Em Take Your Guns." He wanted to know, why are you singing this? I said, because of the Second Amendment. You know, the Bill of Rights, dude. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I said, it's important, man. I said, else, you know, if we didn't have guns, you'd be licking the boots of your master. And he says, bull. And I said, no, you know. And I explained to him, because, you know, he was kind of anti-gun. And I said, have you ever shot a gun? He says, well, no. And I said, well, hey, I'll be right back. And I went over to the farmhouse, and I got a .44 Magnum. All he wanted to do was shoot a can like they did in the movies, you know. So we put some beer cans out there. And I, you know, talked him through how to do that first shot and how to squeeze and not jerk the trigger, and just, you got to let it be a surprise. And he hit the can, freaked out. He wanted to just stay out all day shooting a gun. It was beautiful. He became a life member of the NRA. Yeah, because somebody took the time to explain it to him, you know. Yeah, Frank came up with the title for the album. We were looking at the song titles, trying to think of, you know, what a theme. What could we, you know, put on this cover? What can we call this? And he says, why don't we just call it what it is? And we all looked at him. He says, good singing and good playing. We said, word, we'll take it. Zappa said it. Why not?
The songwriting for just a second. I mean, let's take as an example on your Captain. Where did the idea for that song come about?
I went to bed one night and actually say the prayer that my mother taught me. Now I lay me down to sleep. And I always put this little P.S. on and say the things, you know, to God that I would just say. And I said, God, why don't you give me a song that would reach and touch the hearts of people you want to touch? I could dig it. I got up in the middle of the night, and I'm always writing. I mean, around my house, my wife goes around and picks up the little notes and things, because you never know what's going to be a song or a poem or something. It just comes out. So I get up and I'm writing, go back to bed, and I got up in the morning and grabbed my axe. I had a Guild flat top in the kitchen. I kicked my feet up on the table, and I'm just looking out at the horses. I got the coffee sitting there, and I'm, you know, I said, hey, I wonder if that'll go with those words. And I went and got the words out of the bedroom. Come out, and I started singing it. Took it to rehearsal, and the guys went, wow, that's a hit, man. They were right.
Sounds like your voice hasn't lost any of the range or power over the years. You still sound like you've got it. Any secret to that? Is it genes or
exercise by reason of use? Yeah, really. If you don't use it, you know, it's going to wane. So I'm singing all the time.
How do you keep your sanity on the road?
Go home once in a while. That's the only place I can get sanity. The rest of it's really, you know, like, it's a dream. You know, I'm just dreaming all this. This is what I want. When I go see a show, I don't want somebody ad-libbing or going off on something. I want to just hear hit. You know, I want to hear the music. So I kind of practice that.
There got to be somebody, yeah, got a sweet loving woman like mine.
And I had an operation on my neck, and they fused two of my vertebrae together, and the doctor says, no more Strats, no more Tellys, no more Gibsons. He says, you got to find something lighter to play. And when I was over in Japan with Ringo in '95, I had gone to Korg, to the factory, and they were showing me new stomp boxes and things they had, and then they asked me about the Fly. If I seen a Fly, I said I'd never heard of a Fly, and they brought it out, and of course I grabbed it and I went, whoa, you know. And so I contacted Parker through Korg at that time, and now I'm playing that light guitar. This Fly made me a better guitar player. Cool. It'll make anybody that learns how to play it a better player. It's more precision than anything I've ever touched in my life. We need a 2-channel radio out there, guys, that sends 2 signals, the piezo and the magnetics. So you could send the piezo to an acoustic amp, of course, and the magnetics to your stack, and you could be bad, real bad. But, you know, it takes years for people to catch on to this. I know it's slow, but I've always been ahead of the curve.
Talk a little bit more about amps and recording.
I use my rig, which is the 2 cabinets, stereo, that have 2 D130Fs in each cabinet. And I put it in a big room, mic it close, and then have mics, you know, on down the room, and listen back to it, and say, yeah, that right there. So I've got boutique pedals that have been modified by Keeley, and a couple of other pedals that I use, like an Arian stereo chorus is the last thing in the chain that I split and go to the supers. And that little old cheap plastic chorus is bad to the neck. It is. It's a good chorus.
What wah-wah do you use?
I use Keeley modified. That's got a mid-range attenuator where I can dial in the amount of the mid-range and get the perfect sound for whatever setup, because it changes when you're doing fly gigs and, you know, they're backline, and your twins are, I'm using a pair of twins, and they are never the same, ever. I carry my own tubes. You know, I got like 3 sets of preamp tubes that I carry with me. I use the fuzz head, Keeley fuzz head. It's very musical. It's not like anything else that I've ever, you know, plugged into as far as a sustaining, you know, lead tone, but it's got, man, it's very musical. It does something special. It's magic. You know, I jam with people. I go jam. It's good. You know, it's good to play. Every time you pick that guitar up, I don't care who you're playing with. You don't have to. It's just good for you. It is. You will learn something. And from jamming and garage banding, you know.
And you know who I am. Yes, you know who I am. You know who I am. Yes, you know who I am.
CD then. Is there a